We have a unique video this week just for New Year's. So let's get out the old crystal ball and see what possibly is going to happen in 2022. Let's cover topics like real estate, jobs, population growth, all in the state of Utah. So let's get after it right now. Welcome to the Living in Utah channel. I'm Mike Gallagher. I'm a local realtor right here in the state. If this is your first time to the channel, you want to make sure you tap that subscribe button down below and hit that bell notification, and you'll be notified each and every time we release a new video, and that's every week. And honestly, we receive dozens of reach outs from all over the country, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about making a move to Utah and you want to know what it's like to eat, sleep, drink, and play, you'll want to pick up that phone, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or even send the pigeon carrier. Days, nights, weekends, we got your back when moving to the U-State. As we look into the crystal ball, first on the list will be population growth. The state of Utah has roughly 3.3 million residents. Now that's a small number when you compare us to states like California, Texas, Arizona. I believe California has roughly 40 million residents. I was once told that the population of Utah is equivalent to the population of Orange County, California. So last year, our population grew by 58,000. When you divide that by 365 days a year, it works out to 160 people a day. Now that number includes people who have moved to the state of Utah and also newborns, families who are having children. It also includes people who passed away in 2021. So the number of 58,000 is the highest number that we've seen since roughly 2005, and it is 7 years in a row that we were over 20,000. Most of the growth that I've noticed has been in the north and in the south. In the north, you have Cache County, cities like Logan. You have Weber County, cities like Ogden. Davis County, cities like Layton, Kaysville, Bountiful. Salt Lake County, where you'll find cities like Salt Lake City, West Jordan, South Jordan. And Utah County, where you will find cities like Provo and Orem. Down south, Washington County had the largest growth. You'll find cities like St. George, Utah. That particular area has seen some tremendous growth for probably the last 15 years. Also with the numbers, we saw an increased number of deaths in the state of Utah. I think that number is a little bit higher due to the COVID issues that we've had in the state of Utah and also around the country. So for 2022, I think the growth will continue. We may even set a record. We may go as high as 60, 65, 70,000 people coming to the state of Utah. Now, during the pandemic, I saw a large push around the country. People who would like to leave blue Democratic states and move to red Republican states. Top of my mind is states like Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Texas, Florida. They're all seeing increased numbers. I mean, will this continue or is it a temporary situation? Only time will tell. I think it will continue for at least the next 5 years. But with all the moving that we are seeing in the state of Utah, it also comes with some challenges. It's nice to have new jobs, new shopping, new restaurants, but I'm also seeing more traffic, and also our recreational areas are crowded. Own a camper trailer. At one time, you used to be able to just go to a camping site, park, and you were set for the weekend. Now they are being booked weeks, sometimes months in advance. So there is some good news. The state is in the process of establishing some long-term plans to help with the growth. Currently, the state is spending about $500 million in water infrastructure planning and management, and it will include water reduction at all levels. So whether you're the agricultural farmer or the individual homeowner, there will probably be some cuts. They're going to spend $46 million also on what they call active transportation to help combat air quality. Over the last few years, we've actually seen some declining emission numbers, so some of these programs are actually working. They're also looking at supporting electric vehicles. One of the ideas that they have is to put charging stations along the highways. They're also setting aside $228 million to address affordable housing and the homelessness. Well, with growth comes an increased homeless situation. Most states are dealing with the same issues. I'm always thinking about the affordability side of things. How will our kids and our grandkids afford a home in Utah in the future? Actually, how will they afford a home anywhere in the United States in the future? As I continue with the crystal ball for 2022, the home market, whether you're looking at buying a home or renting a home, and if you're looking for the wild, wild west housing market to cool off, well, it may not happen. There's a new report out by realtor.com that predicted Salt Lake City as the #1 housing market for growth in 2022. Maybe you're thinking, I'll go to Idaho. Well, Boise, Idaho was #2 on the list. They are also shattering records in Idaho every single year. And it's not just the Salt Lake City market. With many people having the ability to work from home with their job, they are choosing to live in communities that are an hour to an hour and a half away from Salt Lake City. They're finding that these communities have the shopping and the amenities that they need, the outdoor recreation. And if they need to go to Salt Lake City, they don't mind the 1 hour, hour and a half drive into Salt Lake to maybe catch a flight, watch a Jazz game, or maybe have some other shopping opportunities. So with the increase in prices, it also brings a challenge to the state in terms of affordability. Whether you're buying a home or renting a home, it seems as if when home prices go up, rental prices also increase. The state of Utah does have a tiny home village going in Salt Lake City, and they are putting $20 million towards the first phase of this project. It's located on the west side of Salt Lake. Actually, it's on the northwest portion of Salt Lake City. And I'm going to be intrigued to see the completed project, what it turns out like, what it looks like, and see if more cities in Utah decide to follow along and put some money into tiny home communities. But it looks as if listing prices in Utah will increase in 2022, and so will rent prices. Something else is also increasing next year, and that would be mortgage rates. The Federal Reserve met and made a decision to raise interest rates in 2022, potentially 3 times. Now, this can all change. The Fed can change its mind. It's just they're forward thinking at the current moment. We'll have to see how this affects the housing market. I think if it's a small increase, like maybe 1/5% or 1/4%, we will not see many changes to home prices in Utah. But if at the end of the year we are, say, 1% to 1.5% higher, so maybe if we're in that 4.5% range, that could make the market a little bit more even towards a buyer and seller market. I'm also keeping my eye out on some potential buyers that might be entering the market. We have roughly 45 million millennials. They're sitting on the sidelines right now waiting to get in the game. Many of those individuals have been renting. They're now starting to get married, have kids, start a family, and some of them are thinking, maybe I should own a home. So over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I think some of them will also get into the home purchase game. We also have some inventory issues. Now this goes all the way back to 2006 to 2009, 10, when we had the housing market crash. New construction was at a crawl pace. Actually, it probably almost died. Many new builders went out of business, and the ones that were still left in the game, they were building very few homes, waiting to see what was going to happen with the market. Even in years of, say, 2011, 13, 14, we still fell behind. We were building roughly half of the homes that we needed on a yearly basis. That has put us in a little bit of a drought. We're about 5.2 million homes short across the United States. We cannot make that up overnight. You just can't build homes that fast. With the crystal ball again, will it be a seller's market or a buyer's market in 2022? Well, in 2021, Utah market was definitely a seller's market. It was hot, mostly due to strong job growth, low unemployment, low mortgage rates, very few delinquencies. People were paying their loans, and we were experiencing record population growth. And it looks like in 2022, it will be the same situation. Now, we did see a little bit of a decrease in October of 21, but it seems to be going strong again. One example of this was a home that was in Bountiful, Utah that I looked at. I was assuming through the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, A lot of people would be out of town, spending time with families, putting a hold on looking for a home. Well, this particular home received 18 offers within 24 hours. I have some fun facts about the Utah housing market. Utah home prices increased by 23.8% year over year. Every county in the state of Utah received double-digit increases except for one county. That would be Summit County, where you will find cities like Park City and Deer Valley. Is the most expensive county that we have in the state of Utah. Homes in the Davis County area sold the fastest. I'm not surprised by this number. Most of the lists that I do, the top 10 places in Utah, the best suburbs outside of Salt Lake City, usually feature cities from Davis County. When we look at jobs, the latest data showed that the non-agricultural employment rose by 48,000 jobs. That is higher than the numbers we saw before the pandemic. So will it be a seller's market in 2022? Sure does look like it. We have strong job growth, rock bottom unemployment, low interest rate. It all lines up to be a seller's market. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the interest rates. That may change things a little bit. Only time will tell in 2022. Let's take a look into the crystal ball for jobs in 2022. I think that the job growth in Utah will continue throughout 2022. Right now, the unemployment rate in Utah is 2.4%. We're number 2 in the country. Number 1 would be Nebraska. Their unemployment rate is 2%. New construction commercially going on throughout the whole valley. I see now hiring signs everywhere I go. I was just down in the Silicon Slopes area. There are new buildings going up with companies that are expanding and new companies that are moving into the state in the tech industry. You take the west side of Salt Lake City. So they're building what they call tilt buildings. They put forms on the ground, large forms, hundreds and hundreds of feet. Then they pour the concrete on the ground and they get a crane and they lift the walls up and build these huge warehouse type buildings. Throughout West Salt Lake City, out by the airport, I see these buildings going up non-stop. They're building them as fast as they can. Also, Amazon. I've driven by 2 brand new Amazon facilities that are going up at the current moment. And there's a lot of construction out at Hill Air Force Base. Northrop Grumman has 3 large buildings going in. And these aren't small. These are huge, huge office-looking complex, multi-story. There's also development going on just outside the gate. More defense contractors expanding their operations in Utah right there on the base. And if you take a trip up to the Ogden area, we have what's referred to as the BDO. It stands for Business Depot in Ogden. That area is growing and filling up fast, whether it's new buildings or some of the existing buildings that have been left over from the military. They're rehabbing those buildings and companies are moving in there as fast as they can. I was just up in Logan, Utah. There is new commercial business going in there, building after building. I actually tried to grab a bite to eat while I was up there for lunch. No indoor dining. Just about everywhere you go, there's no indoor dining in the Logan area. So I asked someone up there, what's with the dining situation in Logan? And they said that the unemployment rate in Cache Valley was 1.7%. They just do not have the employees to man the inside dining. Drive-through only. There's a great sandwich shop up in the Logan area, and I just heard that they are closing down operations due to lack of employees. They make everything from scratch, including the rolls for the sandwiches. They roll out the dough and cook it themselves. Requires a lot of employees, and at the current moment, they just cannot get the staff to keep the operations going. I mean, you drive around any town, most of the company vehicles that you see have now hiring signs on the back of them. I was surprised with the post office. I followed a few mail carriers throughout my journey throughout the days, and now hiring on the vehicles for the post office. It's the first time I've seen post office vehicles with now hiring signs. As we dig deep into the crystal ball, new construction for 2022, I think we're going to have the same problems that we had in 2021. So if you're considering a new build, residential or commercial, there may be some challenges ahead. I recently talked to a land developer And he said they're having a hard time trying to find land to put these new homes on. And then they're having a difficult time getting city approval or county approval for the developments. The cities are working at max capacity throughout the whole state. There's a lot of construction going on, and the cities are having a tough time keeping up with the demand. Then we have materials shortages again. Lately, it's been trim, stucco, and plumbing fixtures. I talked to one lady, she could not finish her house because the plumbing fixtures that she would like are out of stock. It seems to change every week. One week it's plumbing, then it's wood, and then it's paint. And the costs for these materials will probably fluctuate throughout the year. Just a couple months ago, wood came down considerably. Now it's on the rise again. About a month and a half ago, you could buy a 2x4 for $3 a piece. Now I'm seeing prices in the $6 range, and that is per board. Labor shortages. With the low unemployment numbers in Utah, there's some labor shortages. Just about every specialty trade that I know of, electrician, plumber, painter, framer, is looking for help. And I do not think that the labor shortage issue will change in 2022. Also, the time frames for building a home have increased. What used to take 5 or 6 months may take 6 or 7 months now. So in conclusion, that's my predictions for 2022. At the end of the year, I'll do a little recap and see if I was right or wrong. If you do have any kind of questions, by all means, reach out to me. I'm glad to answer anything that I can. Till the next video, take care and stay safe.